Bula, hello, it's Chris coming to you live from Fiji, where I'm here with the missus and kids on my annual holiday. I haven't had time to go through the runners with Liam this week, but we're back next week for our big YouTube preview. It'll be a bigger and better event than ever. I've enjoyed myself this week. As you can see, I'm getting my tan on. Really enjoying laying by the beach with the kids and the missus. Actually, speaking of the missus, hey Tusi, go easy on that foot rub. Anyway, we're having a great time. Enjoy. I'll let Liam go through the runners with you for this weekend. Bula.
Nice horse in the background there, Liam.
Funnily enough, Hayley, I was just admiring its beauty myself. It's one of the beautiful colts bought by Denise Martin, Star Thoroughbreds. He is by Hinchinbrook, first season stallion who, as we know, was a superb racehorse and son of Fastnet Rock. But as you can see in the photo behind me, he's a real deal, this colt. He's recently been into the stables, showed us plenty. I think there's better things in store for this young fellow. I know there's a few shares left in him for anyone at home. If you're keen, want to get a horse with the power, get involved, give the office a call. There's plenty of shares left in him.
Okay, boss is away. He's in Fiji. We've had his little video message. Let's run through these horses. First up, Flemington, 3 runners, 2 in the 5th heat of the Banjo Patterson series, Permit and Sacred Flyer.
Well, Permit's going to head on the truck tonight at about 8 PM. He'll be heading back up the highway and coming back to Rosehill. We've seen him in Melbourne looking for drier surfaces and drier tracks, which he didn't seem to be able to find over the autumn months in Sydney. He's had no luck finding them in Melbourne either. Track's still wet in Flemington, or at Flemington I should say. Bring him back home. It's a 2,500 metre race for him in Sydney. Sacred Flyer, he's done a really good job so far this preparation. Obviously broke through for a well-deserved win last start. Good patient ride by Chris Simons, and he got the chockies. Saturday's race looks a similar task, and he should be hard to beat again.
And Sebcom's been settling him down there for about a week, I think.
Yeah, look, he's a horse that's obviously been well noted. He doesn't win out of turn, but he's a horse that's earned good prize money. He's a genuine open class galloper. He heads to Melbourne. The change of scenery down there is probably one element that will spur him on. Certainly a big track, if he can relax and settle, which he should do. Chrissy Simon's on him, and he'll make sure he doesn't get to think about it twice. He'll be fine in the line.
Back at headquarters, Chris will be back here for the day. First race, very talented street cry filly in Winks.
Yeah, he summed that up pretty well, Hayley. She's a very, very talented filly. I know Chris doesn't like putting booms on horses, but I'm happy to. She's a real deal. She won very well first up. The fillies event on the at Warwick Farm, in comparison to the colts, run 3/4 of a second quicker, and Delectation come out and beat them fair and square last Saturday. So if you take a form line through that, she's certainly done well since that run. Chris was a touch mindful of the fact that she's still immature and certainly far from basically being her physical peak. But look, she's pretty smart. It is winter time. She's got her chance to win another race on Saturday.
Next race over 1,350 metres, we've got 3 horses, a Basso, Mademoiselle and Black Revolver.
Yeah, Mademoiselle, she was entered also for the Sunshine Coast Guineas. She's been scratched from that race. She'll head to Sydney, home track of Rosehill. For a horse like that, she's a 3-year-old filly. She's got the opportunity to get black type as an older horse if she's good enough, and she's certainly shown so far this preparation that she'd warrant stepping up to some better races in the spring. You've got the opportunity to race for $50,000, or certainly $85,000, but $50,000 first prize plus your Bob's money. So comparing that to black type racing in Brisbane certainly makes it worthwhile from a prize money point of view. She's obviously done well. The dry track suits. She gets in with 56 kilos after the surgery, losing her claim. she's going to be very competitive. Abasso races on the back up from last Saturday where he raced very well. Comes back 50 metres in distance. He's just been a touch unlucky, this horse. 2 starts back he was caught up on the speed and raced wide. Last start he was back in a slowly run race and tacked the line late. Just petered on his run the last 50. So 13.50 on Saturday, small field, no guarantees that there's going to be good tempo, but look, he's drawn well. He's going to hopefully settle hand here in the run and he'll be very competitive. In Black Revolver, he'll be aided by getting back onto a firmer surface. He just seemed to fail on that wet track last start.
Fillies and mares over 1500 metres, Acapella, Sense and Reason and Forever Crazy.
Yeah, Acapella was a very good run first up. She's obviously a mare that's form last preparation when she went to Melbourne was disappointing, so it's good to see that she's returned in good order. She's probably a horse that will be better suited when she gets to a 3rd and 4th run back for the preparation. But on the back of a first up run, she'll be competitive. I think if she runs sort of a nice 4th or 5th, she'll be doing herself justice heading towards the 3rd and 4th run. Sense and Reason, the form's been faultless. She's won the last 3. Obviously, it's no easy task making it 4 in a row, but she's certainly a filly on the way through. She's a progressive type and awkward draw on Saturday, but she should again be hard to beat. Forever Crazy, she's a middle distance type horse. Work's been very strong. Her trials were great leading into a first up run where she performed accordingly. Obviously it's only an extra 100 metres compared to a first up run, so ideally she'd be better suited probably at a mile and maybe a touch further. But if they get along at a reasonable enough gallop here on Saturday, she's in a good spot, she'll certainly be charging late.
Another 3 runners in the nets, the significant stakes, the Alfonso, El Doot and Enormous Honour.
Yeah, set weights race, so it obviously suits these horses that are high rated in handicaps. The Alfonso is the highest rated horse on his benchmark in the race and very well suited. He's won his last 2. Looks obviously on paper hard to beat. 1900's another step for him, but look, he's done nothing wrong. And like I said, 1900's probably the only query with him. El Dute failed last start on the wet track at Rosehill. His first up run at Kensington was very good in Australia. He's been an impressive horse since his arrival. I know Chris is really happy with him. His work's been solid back on a dry surface. He could certainly improve sharply. And Enormous Honour, look, last 2 runs have been excellent when winning. Broke his maiden and stepped up to restricted grade where he won again. Another step up on Saturday. 1900 metres is also the query, but he'll certainly be aided by the big track.
Winter Cup, so Permit's coming home, Hoi Lonnie, Secessio and Marquin.
Yep, Permit, as I touched on earlier, he'll be very well suited by the dry surface. 2400 metres is distance. Gets a slight bit of weight relief. He carried 60 last start in Melbourne and he's been forced to carry similar weights in Sydney previous to that. 58 kilos, albeit only a little bit. It's certainly an improvement on what he's been forced to carry, putting him 4 kilos above the limit. Hoi Lonnie, first run had no luck, second run was okay. 2400 metres is probably a query for him. He's certainly never won over the distance, but a dry track on Saturday will give him every chance. Secessio, another horse, he failed last start over 2 miles. Gets back to 2400 on a dry surface. That'll suit him. 2400, Chris, of the mindset that he's probably not a genuine 1.5-mile horse, maybe better suited at 2000 metres, but believes that obviously the dry track makes it easier for those horses rather than it being a tough staying contest on the wetter surfaces. And Mullican, well, his 4th run into the prep, he's done a good job today. If he was to get back to the form he showed at the end of his last preparation, he'd be very hard to beat on Saturday.
Okay, the next race we've got 6 runners, so I'll start at the top and we'll talk through them. First is Tronzo.
Yep, 60 kilos to lump. He's a horse that obviously likes to get to the front and lead uncontested. Ambitions or instructions will be, I'd imagine, the same again on Saturday. Just go to the front and hopefully he can have an easy time of it in front. If he does, despite the weight, he'll be hard to beat.
Kupati.
Yeah, obviously improved run despite probably what it says on paper. Last start he was really finding the line well last run late. Saturday, third run back for a preparation. Probably be aided by a little bit of cut out of the ground, but look, he's probably getting close to his peak fitness now, and he's another horse that'll be competitive.
Bagman.
Yeah, he went pretty good last start, Hales.
Sneaky one.
Yeah, Brenton Abdallah had no run on him from basically inside the 150. If he had a bit of clear room, I reckon he would have given Scream Machine a bit of cheap. Brenton Abdallah specifically asked to ride him again. We've opted to claim with Serge Lisney. Horse gets in well at the weights, he's going to be very hard to beat.
Michael Stein.
Yeah, look, a horse that failed on better tracks last preparation. His form's faultless, but he has had the benefit of racing on wetter tracks. So, good track on Saturday is going to be a test for him. He's drawn well, Blake Shin's aboard. Look, on form he's going to be hard to beat, but the firmer track's obviously a query.
And so we've got Brenton on tougher than ever.
Yeah, horse that just knocked up late last start. He's certainly more adept on wetter ground. As I said, it's been well noted it's going to be a good track here on Saturday. That's probably the only hindrance for him. Certainly a horse that seems to stretch out better on the wetter surfaces.
Rounding off our team and that Disciple.
Yeah, races on the back up. Was good last week, missed the start and raced back in the field. Black Jag produced a career best effort to win that race, and Disciple got home well. So races on the back up is probably 2 or 3 points out of his handicap in this race, but he's a horse that's racing in good form. He'll be competitive on Saturday.
Speaking of Black Jag, he's entered for the 1900 metre race. Do you think he'll run?
Yeah, look, Chris hasn't made his mind up yet. Obviously being mindful of the fact that he's racing on a 7-day backup after producing a very big run to win last start. Track was shifty, so quite often a big run on a wet track can flatten the horse if racing on a quick backup. I know Chris has made the point to the owners, Mark and Leah Timms, that he's mindful of this. There's certainly no rush with the horse. There's a race next Saturday for him, benchmark 90 races he'd be well suited in, so I think he'll be given up until Saturday morning whether he scratches or runs.
Okay, and also in the race we've got Done Nothing Wrong and Saigon Team.
Yeah, both last start winners, both very impressive in fact. Done Nothing Wrong, he raced up on a good speed at Canterbury, midweek level. He's been a real good horse for the stable. He's raced competitively at the city level for a few years now. Saturday, 1900 metres, he certainly gets his chance to win a Saturday race with the connections. He's drawn awkwardly, but I imagine he'll roll forward, tying on the board, informed jockey, and if he can just run him along a bit and get a nice sort of easy section through the middle stages, he'll certainly be very strong late. Saigon T, she's proven she's very adept in wet ground. Saturday's a good track. Probably brings her back a touch. I know Chris has made mention of the fact she probably doesn't stretch out as well on the better tracks, but there's a lack of suitable options for fillies and mares that are looking for this sort of distance. So Saturday's race certainly suits, but she'll be aided by a bit of rain.
And then we've got Field Marshal in the last, hoping to go out with a bit of a bang.
Yeah, trialled really well on Tuesday morning. He's drawn awkwardly. I think Chris was going to give up until Saturday morning as to whether he committed to running the horse. Looking at the options around, it's probably not a great deal there for him. So look, I'd say he'll run on Saturday. He's got 56.5. He's got an awkward draw. He's a horse that has been inclined to race keenly in his previous races. But his horse has got a lot of ability. So if he can even get 3 wide with a bit of cover, somewhere around midfield, he'll be very strong late.
Beauty. Thanks, Em.
Happy punting. Good luck.
See ya.